Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to go over 10 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs from Shout Factory you should definitely check out. When it comes to 4K Blu-ray, you have of course the major studios such as Sony, Warner Brothers, Paramount, and they put out great stuff, no doubt. But on the other end, you have boutique labels such as Shout Factory, Criterion does a really good job, Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome's really coming up there, and some would argue, myself included, that they put out some of the more consistent quality product out there. The market is for collectors, no doubt about it when it comes to 4K. And really, those boutique labels, they are the lifeblood. They keep it going, and they offer not just the movie itself in usually better picture quality than what we get from Blu-ray, but extras. They're important to these boutique labels, and a lot of them put out some good stuff in that area. So for this video, I thought I would go over 10 4K Blu-ray discs from Shout Factory you should definitely check out for yourself. And when I'm talking about Shout Factory, I'm also, of course, including Screen Factory line as well as Shout Select. It's all under the same umbrella, but these are just 10 of those titles that I've reviewed here on the channel that I think you may be interested in. And before I start, my number one is not my number one. These are not in any particular order. These are just 10 random titles. And if you are interested in any of them, I will leave direct Amazon links in the comment section below. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in. One of the main reasons a lot of collectors upgrade to 4K is the Blu-ray was probably not a great transfer. And this first one definitely falls into that category, and I'm talking about Red Dawn. One of the things that struck me most about this when I first popped it in was the clarity. It has a nice good grain structure to it. It wasn't tampered with in any way, but the image itself was really sharp. It had some good looking picture quality to it. I mean, of course you throw in the HDR grading, it's going to really bring out the colors. It's a dark movie subject matter wise, but the palette really benefits from that HDR grading. I think this is a vast improvement over the Blu-ray, no doubt about it. And it's one of those movies that you can revisit from time to time and it's just appreciate it. But if you want the best possible quality, I highly recommend Shout Factory's 4K edition. It's under their Shout Select line, so that is my first pick. If you're a fan of director John Carpenter, many of his films seem to have found a home with the Shout Factory line, and the first one I'm going to talk about is They Live. Not only do we get a gorgeous looking 4K upgrade, the picture is really solid. It's got HDR and Dolby Vision, and it gives you a nice lushness to the picture, but the Dolby Atmos upgrade is more than worth the price of admission alone. Audio-wise, this is a great upgrade, and I think when applicable, really benefits a film like this, and I think the overall presentation is pretty solid. Shout Factory definitely has given a lot of love to Carpenter, which I'll touch on more in a few moments, but yes, if you are a fan of this movie, I do highly recommend it. The 4K from Shout Factory is more than worth it. My next pick is another from director John Carpenter, and it's also one of my personal favorite movies of his, and I'm talking about The Fog. If you've ever seen the movie, you know it could be very dark at times. And of course, with the fog itself interacting with the darker scenes, it could also lead to some artifacts or blocking when it comes to lesser transfers. But I feel Shout Factory's 4K disc really stepped up their game, and I think largely it's an improvement over what we've gotten on previous formats. I really enjoy how it just gives you a nice visual style. You don't have to really worry about all those problems that can happen. Really just sit back and enjoy the movie. It's dark, it's very creepy, it's atmospheric, and I do feel that the 4K disc is probably the best we're ever going to see the film on a format. This next one is one of the more recent releases from Shout Factory, and I'm talking about the film Wanted, starring Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy. This is one of those films that I remember seeing on DVD the last time, and I was never really impressed with the quality there, but fast forward to this new 4K, it's exceptionally clean, and it has some good color enhancement with HDR, and honestly, this is a really fine looking picture. I only wish they would have upgraded the audio here. That's probably my only real nitpick, but I do feel that the 5.1 they do use, it's pretty solid, it's hard hitting, there's a lot of great action moments, and I think Shout Factory's 4K edition of this film is probably the definitive version of this movie on any home format. So yes, I would highly recommend you check out Wanted, especially if you've never seen it or are going back to it after a number of years. I think the whole 4K from Shout really breathed new life into the film. If you're a longtime fan of the channel, you know how much I love classic cinema on 4K as well as Westerns on the format. So I was very surprised when Shout Factory's Shout Select line decided to put out the Magnificent 7 on the format. I was very impressed with what I saw. Typically, Shout Factory Screen Factory gears more towards, I would say, horror. So when I saw this one, I was immediately impressed when I popped it into my 4K player. I loved what I saw. It is a vast improvement over the Blu-ray. This is another one of those Blu-ray discs that just looked kind of rough to me. And whatever improvements were made, it really shows off here on 4K. And honestly, it's just one of those that if you've never seen the movie, do yourself a favor, skip all the previous formats, don't stream it, don't do anything. Go to 4K because that is going to give you the best possible visual representation of the film, in my opinion. And I think Shout Factory, Shout Select line did a great job. With director Sam Raimi's Evil Dead films already on 4K, a lot of fans, myself included, wanted the 4K edition of Army of Darkness. So Shout Factory stepped up to the plate, and I feel, in my opinion, they've delivered a great 4K disc. Yes, it's a little bit unfortunate the alternate cut did not get the 4K treatment. It's only theatrical, but I'm a fan of that version also, and I really enjoy what they did here. The visual upgrade is more than worth it. It's got a great HDR Dolby Vision grading, and the 4K resolution really brings out the textures. I was very surprised with what I saw. I think it's a great upgrade over the Blu-ray. And I, of course, would have liked the alternate version to be 4K also, but I feel that this is a gorgeous looking transfer, and it's also available in both a slipcover and a steelbook, which I love the artwork on this one. So yeah, definitely check out Army of Darkness on 4K. Shout Factory did a great job here. Let's face it, Shout Factory, Screen Factory are known for their horror. So 2004's Dawn of the Dead from director Zack Snyder is certainly right up their wheelhouse. This movie has a unique visual style. Of course, there's a lot of stylized elements to the picture, which I feel play well with the HDR grading. Now, really, this is a 2K upscale, so a lot of the enhancements when it comes to detail, they're going to be not as dramatic as you would get a true 4K picture. But really, the saving grace for me personally is that HDR grading. I think it looks fantastic. It gives you a nice just boost to the overall palette. And they do incorporate some of the unrated footage into the theatrical. So it's pretty seamless. It's not perfect, but I feel really, unless you're looking for it, you're not really going to notice. So yes, the 4K edition of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead from Shout Factory Screen Factory is a certain recommend. Going back to John Carpenter, of course, I had to include this one. And this is also one of the few titles that really you can compare it to an existing 4K disc. So I'm talking about John Carpenter's original Halloween. Now, Lionsgate put out a 4K edition of the film of their own about a year or two before this one. And in my opinion, the Shout Factory transfer is far superior. And I feel that the daytime scenes alone really just warrant the upgrade because they looked a little too washed out on the Lionsgate disc. But on the Shout Factory edition, I think they're dialed in just right. I feel that the movie, let's just face it, the movie has been controversial over the years, whether the transfer is done a certain way. But I feel, in my opinion, that Shout Factory's 4K edition really is the definitive one to own. It's got a good HDR Dolby Vision, and it also includes a Dolby Atmos. So yes, John Carpenter fans, Halloween on 4K, get the Shout Factory version. This next one is also a recent release from Shout Factory's Shout Select line, and I'm referring to Streets of Fire. If you've ever seen the movie, you know it has a unique visual aesthetic, sort of a mixture of 50s and 80s. There's a lot of neon lights and colorful costuming, and just aesthetics are gorgeous. And the 4K transfer, wow, those primaries are lush and vivid, and HDR did a great job here. This is one of those films that is such a visual treat for the eyes, and on 4K, you are getting the best visual representation of the film. Once again, I wish there was a little bit more attention paid to the audio. I would have liked an upgrade here, but really, the picture is more than worth it, and I feel that fans of the film will absolutely enjoy this one on 4K. And my last recommendation from Shout Factory's 4K library, I'm going to go with the films from Leica. And when I'm talking about Leica, I'm referring to the movies Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings, The Box Trolls, and Paranorman. Visually, these are stunning on 4K. They all have HDR and Dolby Vision, which if you've ever seen these films, they're lush in color, beautiful, vivid, and I think they're just visually some of the best out there. These are not just cut and paste audio tracks from the Blu-ray. These Dolby Atmos mixes are brand new to the 4K discs. All the films are elevated even that much further. So in my opinion, visually and audio-wise, all these films really benefit, and Shout Factory did a wonderful job, and these get a high recommend. So those are my 10 Shout Factory 4K Blu-ray discs that I recommend you check out for yourself. And if you're interested in any of these, I will leave direct Amazon links in the comment section. If you use them, they really help out the channel. But now I want to hear from you. What 4K discs from Shout Factory, Screen Factory, or Shout Select would you recommend to the rest of us? Sound off down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.